if you are new to the program, we create with our recycled materials, fabrics, and supplies. And if you are coming back, thank you so much for coming back. I love your comments, your suggestions, everything. I just love you being with me. So jump on board because it's completely free. And as I get more subscribers, I may even think about getting the ad-free videos. So it's something that I may be heading towards. So I'm going to actually turn this because I'm working on this side. And now, hopefully you can't hear the fan, but I do have a fan on because it is actually warm today. It's like, up in the 70s. And so I have the windows closed for now. And I'm going to give a little update over on Vermont Sun and Shade. So I guess this is still a little, I probably should be on the other side, is what I'm thinking. Well, you know what though? We're going to put the camera down onto the table, so it really won't make a difference. So if you are new to Boro Sashiko, what we do is, depending on the size, you need, it's technically 3 layers. So it's technically a quilt. Whether we're doing Kawandi, which means quilt, or we're doing Boro inspired, which is a Japanese method of patchwork, which is also quilted. So I think the best type of fabric to have for your base, look, this was the curtain that we had gotten at the thrift shop the other day. It had tiny little, it was worn. It had tiny little, what you call age stains on it. So I cut a piece of this, so that's what we're using today. So I'm going to put the camera down, and I do have a cup of coffee in front of me. But we're going to start designing. And what I want to do, so I made this a decent size. I was going to make it really tiny. And I'm like, well, you know what? If I'm showing everyone how to do this, it's going to be difficult for you to understand. So if I make it tiny, okay. So this is 8 and, excuse me, by 9. This is 8 by 9, so it's a nice little size. Now what I did, and what I like to try to do, is whether I have a sheet, piece, or not. Let me take a look here. You see right here, you see how that's open? So I try to get a piece like that. So my top part is already created, so I can put a dowel in it. You know what I'm saying? And hang up your wall hanging. So for those of you just coming, hi, how are you? We're making a Boro Sashiko and fall themed. It's going to be autumn themed. So it doesn't matter what your base is, because your base is, you don't have to cover your base. When you do Boro Sashiko, you do not have to cover your base. You can put pieces of it around. But what we're doing today, I'm going to go up this high to where the hem is. It comes over, okay? And it's already folded over. I'm just going to leave that like that, because the other thing I like to do is sometimes I like to play around with acrylic paint. So you can always paint this, or you could take like a seam like this and then just sew it on later. So you're sewing just the top edge there, and then the side, and just a little, so you keep your opening there. So you can always play around with that top edge. So we're going to just work from the bottom of this particular hem down. Now on this piece of scrap fabric, they have these little rings, and I'm collecting these little rings, and I'm going to use them to put on my other little wall hangings to, so yeah, they can hang them up. You don't even have to use, like we could fill this whole piece and we can simply put these little rings on later on the back side. And I actually, why don't we just, do that, because that might be easier for you. So I'm just going to share with you the fabric stash that I have here first, and I need my coffee. I'm going to put this over here. Thank you so much for having a cup of coffee with me. You make my coffee special, special, special. So I picked all the fall colors that I feel that I have here right now. So there's this one. You saw this one before, little tiny buffalo checker, green and white. Moss green is always a nice fall color. This is kind of a fall color too. Okay, so I put that over to the side. Now, if you don't have your small scrap pieces, whether you were looking for them at the thrift shop, or you're like, well, I'm going to save my piece, go ahead and cut the pieces, cut them. And it doesn't matter the size of the shape. They can be a little obscure. They don't have to be even. That's the whole signature of Boro Sashiko, is they used what they had for patches. So I have this lovely, I would say otherwise it's gaudy, but it's leaves. So that's a fall. And this is a nice dark kind of yellow little teeny flowers. I think that's a lovely fall. And color. This is a beautiful orange autumn color paisley. And that's a lovely. I always love purple for fall, but I don't know, these look a little springy, but I keep them to the side. So I have a couple of whimsical pieces here, which are, have the little ghosts and the bats and everything. And it's like some people say, well, don't mix that with something that is a different type of vibe. But the thing of it is this, when you're working with the scrap fabrics, a lot of times these little whimsicals just fit in really nicely, and this is almost a vintage type whimsy type of design. So, and I love this one, I really do. I just love this. I got this in Burlington at the makery.com. When I went down there, and I wish it wasn't so far away. I used to live right there, and I didn't even know about the place. And I moved 2.5 hours up, and now I know about them all. Anyway, so I got that. I got some patches over here ready to go. And here's more of the leaves. Sometimes when you have a lot of the same one, that's good. That will be a recurring theme. This is kind of cutesy. I cut a little bit up from this one, and sorry about that, I keep putting these over to the side. So we'll use that, and then this is outright orange. Orange is always perfect for fall, and the same with this. This is a lovely purple. I put this little yellow on there because sometimes less is more. Look. I mean, just these two pieces together, or those two pieces on the yellow, those just together, just 3 pieces, just lovely, lovely. But anyway, purple and orange always go. Now, so what we're going to do, okay, so we're going to do Boro Sashiko. So now with Boro Sashiko, unlike Kawandi, I don't want you to get mixed up with the Kawandi, because that is different. It does use patchwork, but it's completely different. It's completely, let me just explain this, because I really, this is why when I teach a class on Boro, I try really hard to distinguish Boro from the other types of patchwork, whether it's Old English or traditional Northeast New England, or the Swedish log type of styled quilts. Boro is so different because it's using the patches strictly, like they did in the 1400s, strictly to mend, okay? Mend, repair, reinforce. So depending where the rip was is where the patch went, the angle of the patch went, or how the patch was positioned and how it was stitched and all of it. So because of that, what comes out of this is no real set ground rules like you have in traditional quilting. So I just wanted to say that. So because of that, you do not have to start from the left to the right, or right to the left, or up and down. Okay, you do not have to. Now, for the sake of covering this entire piece, that's how I'm going to go. And I'm going to show you a style that I first learned. Okay? And, oh, I forgot, I have this, look. I also have this purple, and I also have this. So these can be spring, or I feel like these could be fall. So I have those in there. So I'm going to go ahead and start, because I'm just loving this. I want a couple little pieces of this. Now this is 8 by 9. As we know, it's 8 by 9. So your patches can be really, really tiny, or they can be medium to small. I mean, it's up to you. And you're probably like, well, Carmella, please tell me the size, because I haven't done this before. So the sizes that I'm going for are like 2 by 3. This one is, this one right here is 2.5 and by 3. Okay, those are going to be the typical sizes that I'm going to be designing this particular piece. This piece is autumn themed wall hanging. And this will be, it may be a back, I'm just going to move this fan a tiny bit. I really do need the fan on, so I hope it's not bothering you. Are you able to hear me okay? Okay, so, okay, so I have this up here. I'm just starting this in the upper corner just because I really like it like that. Okay, now I can go straight down if I want. So typically, with the Boro sashiko, what I do is I start from the left to right. That's what I typically do. And I only do that because that's just how I like to start the design. Sometimes, if I like the base that I'm putting the designs and the patches onto, for example, this is a base. This black piece, this is a base, and this polka dotted piece here is a base to the flower. Okay, so I didn't really want to cover all those up. I wanted them to show. Okay, so I just made the little flower. This is free form. This is a little different. However, I did not cover up the base. So here we're covering it. And, oh, here we go. Yes. I wanted to get, here's our paisley. Now you want to cover up at least 1/8 of an inch overlapping. Does it matter if you overlap it or underlap it? It does not. If I wanted to change it like that, I could. I happen to like that being overlapped like that. And a lot of you will know, if you've been with me a little while, that I do, I sometimes will do little appliques as we're going along, like little hearts. But here I wouldn't do that. You know, I might do like an apple or something like that. Now, if you're going to go, I just want to show this for those of you who are beginners. Okay, if you're going to go, let's say row by row, okay, when you get to the next row, to give yourself a little bit of a gauge so that you know what you're doing, because I will tell you, when I first started this, and a lot of people do this, they'll go up and they're not really quite sure where to place that next little patch, even though it's simply patching and there really are no rules. Some people will go way up here, you know, thinking they gotta or they're trying to cover that patch and then go up here. You know, they're trying to cut. What you want to do is cover your immediate space, okay, with about 1/8 of an inch to an inch, overlapping the piece, whatever piece is there. So for this, if it goes along down like this, that's totally fine. If I want to put it like this, it's totally fine. But whichever way I put it, I only need to be overlapping about 1/8 of an inch to an inch. If you go more than that and you're going higher up, and you know, you're gonna get frustrated, maybe possibly quickly, because you're like, I'm not getting anything done. It could happen. So, okay, so now here we have this space. Okay, so I'm just focusing on that little corner, because whatever I have remainder, I can just use another patch. So I really like this here. I like to get a little color. And a lot of people will tell you that, they'll tell you, oh, the patches, the lines of the patches have to be flush. Now, they do not have to be flush, but the benefit of them being flush is when you sew. So now you're getting to a traditional sewing mind of thought, let's just say. So I don't do that. I don't do that. What I do is, if this is going to overlap a little bit over here and a little bit over there, and I'm covering my space, I think that's just wonderful. And if it's not flush, in other words, making a perfectly straight line with the fabric, well, guess what? That's Boro. Okay, that's Boro. You're creating a Boro. Okay. So the next piece, and none of these pieces are perfectly even, you know, they're not, they're scraps. So this one, I am going to just put it a little bit underneath it, okay, and I'm focusing on my space that I need to be patching or covering. That happens to be straight there, but it's not here. Okay, you're coming down and then you have a piece, but that's how Boro is. So this, I want the little pumpkin to show, so I put the little red one there. Now, you see here how uneven it is? You're not worried at all about that. You're not worried, because this is not like you're doing row by row for patches, okay? We're simply going back over here and we're looking to fill our spaces. So I kind of want to get this purple flower in here. Oh, and I do have this, this fabric. I want this to be part of this theme. So I'm going to get a piece of this right now, and I may have to cut a few pieces of this. And I want these little cherries. Now, you see, when I put that there, it covered up a bunch, but there's still a space right there. So I'm going to just leave the fall type boysenberries or whatever. Now, something to be aware of as you're going here, your next piece, that it's very clear that we have all of this as a space. But guess what? We have this piece that we just put down, and this piece that have no overlapping. I don't know if you can see it on camera. No overlapping. So we really want to pay attention to that. We can use either a thin piece, like a piece like this, to just kind of add to our design here. And so, oh, there's two there, yeah. So like this, and make sure that's, you know, underlapping about 1/8 of an inch to an inch, which that's good. I happen to like when the fabrics are jetting out, because that brings my feeling more closer to the authentic Boro, okay? So I could have also just put this underneath. The thing is that you definitely want overlapping with your fabrics, because if you don't, what will happen when you're either sashiko stitching, hand stitching, your visible stitching, they'll pull apart. They will pull apart. Even if you machine stitch, you're going to end up with a gap there. So you want to get all of your little spaces accommodated for. So now the other thing you can have in this piece is frayed pieces. Now I just so happen to, I don't have any frayed pieces, but I love the frayed pieces. And this one I'm going to just cut that in half, because some of these are really large. I love that. Okay, so it's taking, it's kind of making the oranges kind of pop a little, just like the boysenberries did there. And then I'm going to take yellow, because that's also a nice fall color. Now I could use pieces like this, but this is where we get really into the crazy quilt. This is more of a crazy quilt piece, so I'm going to save that, because we'll be doing some crazy quilts, and we'll do them for wall hangings. We're going to do a Kawandi wall hanging next also, but we're going to save those for our crazy quilts. And the Kawandi wall hanging, yes, we're going to follow a little bit more of a given structure that is used in Kawandi. So this one I just kind of want to put that over there. And I really like this one, even though it's a little whimsical. I don't know, I just really like this design. So it's almost too big for that spot there. Let me just see something, if I can use it like that, and I'll just underlap that one. And this one, maybe, now I save all my scraps, because guess what, I'll find a use for them. I will find a use for these. So I just cut that down a little bit there. See, that's coming along lovely. Now, sometimes I look at these pieces and I'm like, wow, this one would really look nice up here. You know what I mean? And then I put that there, because that's where I want it. That's where my eye is saying to put it. Okay, and then we've got now the little whimsical cat here. And hopefully he shows, you know, if you have a little design and you kind of want that to be popping up, you want it to show, you can figure out a way. This almost seems like it should be a little smaller. Now, you're probably wondering, well, why aren't you pinning everything down? And you can pin them down. People have asked me, in my book, I talk to you about this, how I do these, but you can pin them down, you can fuse them down, you can do whatever which way you want to keep your pieces. Some people I know even take pictures. They'll take a photo of it. I kid you not. That to me, with this many pieces, for me that would be, it would be, I think it would be just take too long. But some people do. They take a picture of it and they'll go back and reassemble it in this way. And it works. It works for some people like that. I do not do it that way. What I do is I'm just putting these down now for the sake of the video, but I come back and I simply pin them. I pin them like these, with these pins. Okay, and I just pin it, I just pin the two of them like that, I'll pin it. And then I just start hand stitching, sashiko stitching. So I'm gonna do some of these sashiko stitching, but I'm gonna do some of these a Boro. I'm sorry, hand stitch, Boro. So sashiko stitching and machine stitching is what I'm trying to say. Okay, so this piece, I really like the orange. So, you know, I want the orange and the browns to kind of be the colors that are kind of like popping here. And there, so I got that one. I don't know if you can see, I got that one. And you probably can't see, but right here is a space. So when I put my next piece, I'm gonna want to cover that space. So I feel like I'm gonna overlap this one and underlap that one because I want the cat to show. So I got another little piece like that. Let's see, so I may have to get a smaller. And I love this one. This is just, so this might be perfect actually. Let's see. Actually, I'm just going to change that up for a minute. Yeah. I really like that there. And the silly cat. I don't know why I like the cat so much. There. That's good. So there's the cat. And here's a leaf. Another leaf like we have up here is a leaf. I'll put this one here. And I really like this red. You're going to see it. You see it here, here, and my eye and my feeling of just all of it is telling me I want a piece here. That's where I want it. And I just kind of go with that feeling, that design feeling. It's the same with this. I'm loving this little speckled brown, so I'm just going to put it right in the middle of the little paisley. And so yeah, let me get this here. I don't know if this is wide enough. If I made it wide enough. Yeah. Now, with Boro, the other thing you can do is you can work with just a few pieces. So I'm just going to put this to the side for the moment. And we're going to do another one. I'm just going to show you. Is this lovely, though? I mean, check this out. Let's see if I can hold it up at all. We'll put some pins in. And we will hold it up. I don't know if you guys can hear the finches in the background, but they're getting comfortable. They're chirping. They're eating, which is really essential. I'm just checking that. That's overlapped beautifully. Now, I think I can hold it up. Is that just too cute for a Halloween wall hanging of all scrap fabrics? And we did very little manipulation. We just used scraps. And the prints on those are just, the prints on these are already themed for the holiday. But there's a few here that I feel like could just pop all by themselves. So we're going to put this to the side for the moment. And I'll show you what I mean. If I can find a piece here. This is tiny. These are the mini ones the mini ones that I'm making are just pieces of the jean fabric that I have. This seems like a good piece here. So I'm just going to use it. And I saved these little ones because I don't know if some of you have seen some of the projects I've done where I'm sewing together a bunch of scrap denim. I just sew it and sew it and sew it. Okay, so this is not quite the way I wanted it here. Is that? I use the seam to give me an evenness of where I'm cutting. I should use my cutting board. I need to get that back out. I packed it away when I moved, and I have to get a new cutter. Okay, so this piece I'm going to use as a little wall hanging. Okay, so an example. This would just be lovely with just a few pieces. Let's just try a few and I'll show you, because you do not always have to do lots and lots of pieces like the one we just did. Okay, you can do just a few. When we do our little coin bag, oh, you know, we should do that. Oh, here's one. Well, we'll do a coin bag. We'll come back and do a coin bag. So let's say we use this beautiful red. This is just lovely. This is so pretty. I mean, there are some fabrics that just by themselves pop. They just pop. And it's like, just by itself. I mean, it's almost as though you could just do, seriously, you could just do a little sashiko stitching on this and actually just have a lovely little wall. I'm not kidding you, that's art. That is art. You will see them today taking fabrics and gluing them onto canvas. So I plan to visit that one day and see how they're doing with that. So let's just take a piece. I just want to show you how to stagger and build a Boro design just independent of having to cover your whole base. So you're not covering your whole base, but you're just using a couple of little pieces that are just pretty little pieces of fabric, and that just complement. So this one I wanted to be fall themed. And I'm loving these little pumpkins. I don't know if this is going to go, but we're going to try a couple little different combos here. And this one I already know is going to go. So let's get a little bit. Maybe we just use two. But I want to show you. I'm going to actually stitch this one because right here with you, because I want to show you how the sashiko stitching, when you do the sashiko stitching, your visible stitching, now you've got Boro. Now you've created a Boro piece. Okay. So without that, you just don't have Boro. Okay. So I'm just going to put that one there. And then I think I'm going to use one of these straps over here. And I'm going to put this here. I want to get those frills off. Okay, here's a Boro design. Now I feel like really what I want to do and what's going to make it even more effective is I'm going to take this and I'm just actually going to take this one and I'm just going to put it, I just want to kind of put it through like that. And I'm going to bring it over. I don't know why, but but I feel like that's where I want it, is more over on this side. I'm trying not to cover up the leaves too much, but that's how I want it. So, and then I want this one, this little piece, I accidentally cut that, so it's a little jagged, so I need to smooth that out. And I want this one kind of like that. So this is more of what they call a independent Boro sashiko patch. So I'll show you how the stitching really makes a difference. So I'm going to just get some thread here. Okay. Okay, and I'm going to I use black thread. I'm starting to run out of this, so I'm going to start scouting for this pretty soon again. And black thread, like a dark purple, and sometimes a dark red, but usually black or dark purple will give you just a beautiful contrast. Just really complements the piece in in what you're doing. So in the design, really almost any color. Okay, so what I need to do is just make sure they stay in place. And so, whoops, that's bent. So I'm just going to do that. Okay, and I'm just going to start my sashiko stitching. Now with sashiko stitching, you can start outside the parameter of your fabrics and use your sashiko stitching as a little design. And I'm going to start outside. It's not going to be highly visible, but that's okay. I just want to start outside, and I can come back around to it and do some horizontal vertical stitches and kind of play around with my sashiko stitching out here. And you'll see a lot of times that will help I'm going to hold this up like this, just so I can get a handle on this. So you're grabbing your stitches, 3, maybe 4 at a time, pushing the needle through. I stop each time and I just make them a little snug. When you're working with the denim, 100% cotton, and you're working with cotton pieces, this will be much easier to do. If you have some pieces, and sometimes we get the blends, and they have the spandex or whatnot in them, it really can hold us up. So now I'm going to turn it. I always turn it the way I'm stitching, whether it's Kawandi or it's Boro. So this is Boro. So I'm going to take this needle out so I can just focus and not get that in my fingers. Push the needle. You push the needle through as much as possible, and then pull. Now, I can go around the parameter, or I can just focus on one piece. There are no rules to the Boro, to creating Boro, except the visible stitching is what creates Boro, is your visible stitching. That's what's making it Boro. So I'm going to just straighten this out. Now the other thing you could do, look, I kind of like that on an angle. You can make it on an angle. You see, it kind of just turned on its own, just because I was, kind of moving things. But just kind of looking at it like that, I really, really like that. And I actually would like to just cut that right there and bring this down a little, and then bring this one up. And this is just your design, you know, your eye, your design, how you want to do it. This is Boro. This is Boro. If you want to do concrete designs, like you want to make a flower or a heart, that is Boro when you apply your visible sashiko stitching. Just think of the idea that you're patching something. Okay, I gotta just hold this up. But when you learn the history of it is what really, for me anyway, what really takes it home. That's really what gives it meaning. And you really, really understand what you're doing after you know the history. So, and that's why when I wrote my book on this, I gave the history because, you know, briefly, not like I'm a historian, because I'm not, but I do appreciate the history and the origins of the different methods of creating art, creating it out of necessity, you know, however it was originated. Okay, so this piece is almost, I'm just kind of doing a little outline here just to get my pieces in place. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to come back and then I'm going to do more intricate sashiko stitching. And you know, you can put a design together and then you can use your sashiko. I do not use the patterns, but you can use patterns. They are out there and very accessible. People sell them, you know, really all over the place on the internet. So you can find sites. Okay, now because I added this one little piece up here just to kind of, you know, complete the design for myself, really. I don't really have enough thread. Let's see if I have enough thread, but I'm just going to turn it towards me for a few minutes here and just finish that. It probably won't take me up that far, I have a feeling. I don't think I have enough thread to go up that far. But if not, that's okay. We can tie it off in the back. Because this little wall, oh, I do have enough actually. This little wall hanging will have a backing to it. And we'll just go this far and then we'll call it good. But at least you have an idea of the different types of Boro that you can do. You can get as creative as you want, basically. I'm just going to pull that for now. Okay, so I hope that this gives you a really good idea. This is one wall hanging that I will come back around and I'll stitch. I'll just do some general stitches, just like I did on this one, to get these patches in place. And then I'll come back and we'll just actually go around with free form stitching, which will be vertical and horizontal. That's what this will be. Okay, and this one is basically the same. So anyway, I hope that helped you, and if you have any questions, hi Maya, how are you? Thank you for being with me today. I hope you can see me. Well, you have a good day, but thank you for being with me today. And hi, Ariel. So if you guys have any questions, like you're making, I'm gonna turn this so maybe you can see me there. But if you are making, you want to make a wall hanging, and you're using your scrap fabric, and you have some kind of question, and you're not sure how to do it, just ask me. I'm very happy to help. And whether you're trying to figure out how to do the, I personally think these little plastic rings are a really great solution to, after you put your backing on, or you don't have to put a backing on, that's what Boro is, but you can put these on to hang your mini wall hanging instead of having a hem. So whatever works. But the hems are not really too difficult either. So anyway, with that, I hope that you got something out of this, and I hope that you have a beautiful day. And let me know if you're designing your Halloween or Thanksgiving or Christmas wall hanging, and I'd love to hear. So with that, love and light.